What up? I am now streaming. Sweet. Cool. This is kind of like weird for me because I've never done this, but yeah, I'm gonna try to make it as natural as possible. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have this app that I made, this little prototype in Expo, and I'm gonna attempt to recreate this just with vanilla React this time, and see if I can give you guys some tips and tricks and how I built this and how to build stuff kind of like this. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay. So we're gonna try to run this on my phone, see if it works. I had to upgrade my Mac OS version just to get Xcode to play nicely with my phone since I updated it yesterday. Okay, I don't know how to see okay, there we go. I was looking for the chat to see, make sure if anyone says anything, I get to it. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions at any moment in time when you see me doing something and you're curious about something. These React Native builds at first, they take forever. It's nuts. I mean, it makes sense. It's like doing so much crap, but still. Like this is just a fresh project, so it's kind of crazy that it takes forever. If this doesn't work, I might need to go Xcode route and try to run it that way. Hey, for anybody watching, how's the audio? Is it good? Should I turn the gain up? Can you hear me well? So I would have had this built already to kind of forego this long, tedious thing. But like I said, I had to update my OS version. So and then I said I was going to be at 10:30 and it took longer. So yeah, bear with me while we go through this. Anyone that writes React Native and does the vanilla stuff, you know that this is all part of the process. So I was thinking about this earlier. I don't ever use this little terminal in VS Code, but I'm assuming this works. I'm going to try to open, because I actually have another project open in VS Code, I think, right now. So I'm going to try to open where I am in my command line into code, so open it into itself, so we'll see what happens. Okay, it opens just a new window, like full screen. So let me kill this real quick and get the right one. Yeah, I want this over here. All right, cool. So this should just be a starter React Native project. Let me check on the build real quick. So that's still going. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of start setting some stuff up. So if I go back to the Expo version, I'm going to start off with importing Safe Area View, which I think is... Hey, what up, Guru Justin? I like your Pikachu. It's dope. So I think this is export in React Native. Seems fine. Yeah, so let me go ahead and grab this guy because I'm on an iPhone XS, so I want to make sure it's looking good there. I also want to open up the original Expo one. So if I get stuck, I can reference that code because I kind of built it quickly. And it was pretty gross. But I figured it'd be helpful to kind of build everything from scratch today and just kind of walk through everything. Where's my app? There we go. Cool. So I have that guy just in case. So ignore most of this code. I'm gonna go over all of this, but I forget how exactly I had everything set up in this like one giant file. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna grab this little style just to get going. And try to dump everything down here to keep it clean. That's legit taking forever. Is that still going? Dear Lord. Like I'm on a kind of a like 2015, mid 2015 MacBook Pro. But that's nuts. Okay, I'm gonna kill this props stuff. I think that's like some flow action going on. Okay, so we have our Safe Area View, and that's going to, you know, the little notch up here, and then this little handle down here. It's going to keep us out of those areas because we don't want to be, you know, obstructing any UI down here, and we don't, you know, we don't want anything under the notch because that'd look gross. But to my knowledge, the Safe Area View, it basically will do that. But then if you're just on like a like this one right here, this is an iPhone 7 Plus. It's just gonna go to the top and bottom, just like normal. That's my understanding. I haven't really checked it out, but that makes sense to me. So it's a neat little thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just build out the top section. The Nike logo with the text real quick. And yeah, I'm gonna kind of do a lot of this stuff fresh because I feel like I can do it better than last time. So let's say I never know what to name things. It's the worst. So we'll just call this header. I know I'm gonna need an image for the Nike logo, and then probably another view to contain some text. Yo, VS Code is slow too. I think it's Xcode. It's like slowing everything down. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Let's see. So I know it needs to be React Native by default. There's a Flexbox kind of implementation for laying out UI on the screen. And by default, it's column, flex direction column. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this row, because I want them side by side. I don't know if I had any padding. Yeah, I had like a tiny bit of padding. You know what? I'm gonna rip this out real quick, because I don't want to take too much time like doing stuff like this, because I think you guys are probably more excited about the scroll view animation stuff. Okay, let's format this real quick. That didn't work for some reason. Oh. Because I broke something. Okay, cool. Got to do a little shake action, and let's enable live reload. I would do hot reload, but I don't know if that'll get me into any weird states. So I'd rather just not do that. Yeah, I heard about this. The red box is like doesn't cover the entire screen anymore. That's crazy. I mean, definitely, I think it looks nicer. But I don't know. I'm gonna miss that huge, giant red screen of death. Okay, cool. I got that text. Let me grab that Nike logo. I'm gonna grab this styles too. So I don't know about that flex one, because I'm like setting explicit width, but we'll see if that does anything. Okay, let me get the source. And I like did this super quick when I was doing an expo, just because I was trying to get it to work. So everything's just like dumped in here. Well, I'm going to try to grab all of these images and place them in our new app real quick. Oh, freaking A. Let's go this way. I think that's good. We don't want app.json. Okay, I'm gonna copy these and we'll create a, I don't think there's an assets folder. Yeah, there's not by default. So Nike logo.png. So, you know what? I'm going to use the import syntax. I don't know why. If anyone knows why VS Code doesn't show me, like when I go into an assets folder, it doesn't show me anything. But like in here, I get out this sweet autocomplete. If anyone knows why, I'd love to know and be able to see that. Cool, that logo is giant. I think I need, Oh yeah, okay. I forget some of these APIs sometimes. There's a resize mode. And we want to do contain. Cool. So, yeah, let me check something real quick. All right. Just making sure it doesn't look like doo-doo. All right, I'm gonna jump to this header and I want to align these guys vertically. So I'm gonna do align items center. Sweet, it's looking good. And then I'm gonna give, I had padding of 4 points before. So that's looking pretty sweet. Cool, all right, we got that initial thing set up. And now I guess let's set up the scroll view. I freaking love scroll views. They're so much fun. Like it's so easy to do really cool stuff really quickly. It's kind of nuts. Yeah, I'm not gonna componentize that. So I'm going to create a new instance of a scroll view. Need to import it first. And whenever I do scroll views, I go ahead and set the props that I can remember off the top of my head that I want. So in this case, I know it's going to be horizontally swiping. So I'll go ahead and set that Boolean to true. I know I want it to be paged, so we'll set paging enabled. And that's basically on iOS and Android, if it's horizontal, this works on cross-platform. So when you swipe, there's a threshold basically. If you swipe one way or the other, depending on how far you've moved in what direction, it will snap. It will either snap to the next slide or just snap back to where it currently is. So this is really awesome. The fact that you just like get this for free is so cool. Yeah, we'll start there. Maybe I'll give this some style. I think you might need to set like flex on this or something. I'm gonna delete this guy. Flex one maybe? I don't know. I feel like that's the thing to do. If you don't know, just like flex one it. It might work. So what I'm doing with this project or this prototype, it's going to be basically the width of the device. So from edge to edge, I know that's going to be like one slide, one page, whatever you want to call it. And as you swipe through, it's going to go at intervals of the device width. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a view real quick that has the width of the device. I'm actually going to use the dimensions. And do a little destructuring. So width, and I'm going to call it device width equals dimensions dot get. There's this method called get on dimensions, and then you can pass it window. So I'm gonna grab this guy, use it here, give it some background color, and let's just see where we're at with this and see if anything's okay. So something is showing up on screen, and oh look, it scrolls. And you can't see my finger, but when I let go, yeah, cool. It snaps back. And if you notice the safe area view, it's got us covered. You can't see it in this QuickTime screen, but the notch is up here. So it's got us covered at the top with this UI, and then the scroll view isn't getting in the way of this handle. So that's great. So I'm gonna just duplicate a couple of these and give them a different background color, just so you can have a little look-see of a super basic little page scroll view. Yeah, so literally that easy, and you're up and running with something that feels really nice and that you can do some pretty cool stuff with. All right, let's go ahead and add. We'll add this guy right here, this title. And on iOS, there's this cool little property that you can set on UI text something. I forget what the native piece of code is called, but basically you can set a property on this thing where it will grow as much as it can. And I think there might be like a shrinking one. So let's just try to build up one of these real quick, and then we might componentize it in a second. So we'll create actually I need some of that code. We'll have a view. And we'll keep I like to have the background colors on there because it kind of helps you, it's like a visual debug, you know that like everything is good. Because I know I want to have it edge to edge and top and bottom need to be at a certain place. So I'll just leave that on there for now. It's super easy just to like comment it out later. But yeah, let's add this one that is air. So let's get some text. Get those sweet quotes. Just go ahead and like make it all uppercase since that makes sense. Give it some style. What the heck? I have Do Not Disturb on and those banners are still showing up. Let me fix that because I don't. That's kind of annoying. Just turn that off for now. I appreciate the love on Twitter. I really do. Go ahead and get this other phone. Same thing. Okay, cool. No more badges should pop up, I hope. Let's see. Here again, I don't know what to call stuff. Off-white quotes. That sounds good. So let's set up some initial styles for this. So this is pretty cool. You can straight up just do font family, and we want to use Helvetica Neue? That's how you say it? Helvetica New? Say it the white guy American way. So Helvetica New, that'll be good for now, just to set up that font family. But the interesting little API here is I literally just used it after this little prototype the first time, so I forget. Okay, it is somewhere up here. Here we go. These two guys right here. So adjust font size to fit and number of lines equal 1. On iOS, this is going to give you that, as you can see, like I didn't have to do anything special to get like Queen to fit perfectly or Air or Vulcanized. They just fit. It's pretty sweet. Since I haven't really used it, I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm gonna like set like a crazy font size and just see. I don't know what exactly is necessary to make this. There we go. Yeah. some crazy large font size and it'll just stop at the edges. So to prove that, I can make this like 2000. And yeah, it grows like crazy. It looks a little bit off-centered and the font weight is a little bit weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and set those. So font weight bold, I think is what I want. And text align center. Sweet, that's looking good. So let me change that real quick and just show you how it'll grow. If I make something longer, like React Native. What? That doesn't make sense. Let me see if I applied any special styles. I don't know, but I'm going to steal these real quick so I can get it as close as possible to the original that I posted on Twitter. Oh, that's weird. Maybe it was the font size. I don't know why I don't know why I did that. But anyways, just mess around with it, and if you're ever trying to use it, maybe read about like what it actually is happening. That's usually good. All right, cool. So we have the air going. Okay, cool. Let's do. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys. This is an interesting little trick. So to pull off this UI, it was kind of tricky. So I'm gonna take this text and I'm gonna get rid of this background color. Does anyone know, are views by default, are they flex 1? Like, do they grow to fill our containers? I feel like they might be, because I haven't set any height, and it grew as much as it could, so I'm guessing that's true. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set a view with my text in there, and then it's basically gonna be like from up here to down here, and I'm not gonna include the shoe. So I'm gonna do this thing where need a view down here. Put some dummy text. You'll see in just a second, it'll make sense. It's kind of a weird way to do it, but it worked for what I was doing. There might be other ways to do it. There usually are, 1,000 different ways to do things. But what I want to do is I want to call this text container format. I want to do, so, okay, everything's already Flexbox, right? And it lays out vertically, so in a column. So what I want to do is, since I know that, and justify content or align items, they're going to flip based off of, you're doing row or column. Since I'm doing column, I want to do justify, I think. Yeah. So I want to justify the content space between. That's, you know what? I don't need this extra view. I'm tripping. That might be what's messing me up here. I can just plop it there, grab this style, and then do a little command click to go to the style definition. And boom, okay, one view. Sweet, that did work. Okay, Man, sometimes extra views, they get you in trouble. Friggin' Flexbox and like extra containers can throw off your UI sometimes. Hey Jazz, for sure, man. Jazz said, thanks for doing this. No problem. Like, this feels pretty fun so far, and I have a feeling that I might like enjoy doing this. And because I'm basically doing this stuff already just by myself, so I thought it would be fun to just join the community and try to help some people out and try to learn and just hang out with each other. Like, why not? That sounds like a super fun time. All right, cool. I added my Plum background again, so I know everything's looking good. And if you notice that text is super tiny, but it's at the bottom now. So I did that for a reason. Let me go ahead and just set up that text real quick. It's gonna look like this 2000, the price, the name of the shoe, and then a couple of thumbnail shots. That's gonna be what this view is right down here. So let me go back and grab some stuff out of the code I already wrote. Does anyone else do a lot of like inline styles? I feel like I've gotten into a habit, like I can move so quickly building something and I can prototype something. So I guess if I throw it away, it's fine. But if I ever try to use it later on, I always regret doing that. Like I feel like I regret being so like quick and kind of dirty, because then I have to like go through and figure out what the frick I did. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna rebuild this. So I just really want these textiles. I'll grab both of these. So price text. I'm gonna rename this too. Okay, price text and shoe name text. I should get the autocomplete, so I'll be good. Styles.price text. You know what? Just for fun, let's do hot reloading. And if it starts breaking, I'll turn it off. But this might help us to be quicker. So I'm gonna set up this container real quick, some styles for it. Let's see, I want to shoe info container. Yeah, well, I don't love it, I'll tell you that. So at the very least, I know I want to align the text centered. Wait, what the heck? Guess I have to disable live reload to have hot reloading working? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, this isn't working for some reason. I don't know if it didn't refresh all the way, but just to be safe, I'm gonna add a background color to see why my text isn't aligning in the center. Oh, you know what? Oh, I think I have to align the actual text component. But what I can do is use some Flexbox. Boom. Okay, cool. That's looking good. All right. So from here, we want to add Jordan 1 Retro High Chicago. Jordan 1 Retro And then we want to, I forgot what this one. We want to call this one shoe name text. Sweet. It's looking good. It's looking good. And then below that, I will set up another view. Sometimes you want, so I mentioned earlier how extra views can get you in trouble sometimes with styling. Sometimes you do want extra views. Yeah, I should like think about this more and maybe compile something that is useful. But there's times where you don't want an extra view because it'll kind of do something wonky, or you might want you might want an extra one because it can really, at least in my experience, it just helps a lot. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but I'm gonna make this another view, and it makes sense in this one because these are gonna be thumbnails, and these are gonna be some images. But for now, I'll do a view just so I can quickly get like a box on the screen at the right dimensions and stuff. We'll call this thumbnails container. And we want to lay these out in a row. So we have to explicitly state that. I'll wait for that other style I had in mind. Also, I'm using Prettier to do all the formatting. If you're not using Prettier or something like it, come on, man. Come on, ladies. What are you even doing? I don't know. I refuse to spend any time formatting nowadays because it's just pointless. When you got something like Prettier, it works so well. All right, I'm gonna grab these dimensions that I previously had set up. Copy that, do Command F and go to where we want it. No, I already set that up, I'm tripping. Okay, I saw it move, but I didn't give any background color, so we don't see anything. I'll just do red. Cool, so we have like one little box right there. Just duplicate it, because in my design I have 3. And then let's give it some horizontal margin to give it some breathing room. I'm tripping. I'm reading the freaking snippet I wrote and it's messing me up. I don't remember what it was exactly, but maybe like 16. So 8 on either side. That looks decent. We'll go with that. And it does have a border. I freaking forget how this goes too. I think it's a little bit different. No, it's not. But I don't, maybe it's that there's not like a shorthand. I don't know. Okay, cool. We got these little, sweet little dashed 1 point width borders for our thumbnail setup. So that's looking good. Let's look at our previous design. Let's see. All right, let's move on to the shoe. I'm not gonna go to the circles. The circles were like the most challenging thing for me to do because I had to like do math and measuring and stuff. But let's move on to the shoe. That'll be fun. So we want to recreate this. You notice the shoe doesn't actually, so I'm like swiping this scroll view, but the shoe stays in the center the entire time. And it does this rotate and scale and it kind of morphs into the next shoe. That's what we're about to do. And yeah, I painstakingly, I borrowed these images. Shout out to StockX. I didn't put this on my tweet and I felt bad about it. But since this was completely just for personal experimentation, Borrowed the images off StockX, so they look all like high res and they're all like consistent and pointed the same way. And then I painstakingly photoshopped them to remove the background because there was a white background. So yeah, I definitely like put in some work to get this to look cool. Okay, now this is the way I did it. I think there's a way that I've done something like this before where you can put it inside of the scroll view and keep it from like not moving. Only if you're using native, only if you're like basically updating the UI on the main thread. If you're using JavaScript to do this and you drop frames, it's going to be obvious. But when you're using the native driver flag, it's so, at least on my devices, it's so good that you can't even tell. But yeah, we're not even going to do that. What we're actually going to do is break outside of this scroll view. And we're going to create a view. Since there might be a better way to do this, but I'm just going to do this for now. So we'll call it shoe image container. Okay, and I want to actually make this just absolute positioned and go as far as it can go in all directions. So I'm going to spread this yeah, so this little documentation says using stylesheet.absolutefill. A very common pattern is to create overlays with position absolute and zero positioning. So absolute fill can be used for convenience and to reduce duplication of these repeated styles. So it's this little handy thing that I've been using forever. Basically, it's going to spread onto this object, you know, position absolute, top zero, left zero, bottom, right zero, all that stuff. And again, I'm going to use background color just to make sure that it's doing what I want. We'll do blue. Cool. Yeah, that's actually what I want. I'm going to kill that. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm doing this kind of weird, dangerous thing. I want to, not here, because it's not a style, but here in my JSX, I want to set this thing called pointer events to none. I don't want it to be touchable at all. I just want it to not receive any touches whatsoever. And then what I want to do is I want to try to center everything. I'm basically going to have another view inside of this shoe image container view, and inside of that view will be the image, the animated image. So we'll align item center, justify content center. We'll open this up. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited. Okay, put a view. And then we're gonna go ahead and just go ahead and do an animated image. Before we do that, we need to import this. Cool. And this is gonna take a source of shoe 1. Import this. Yeah, so I don't know, VS Code doesn't give me that sweet autocomplete. So I have to go look manually, like a peasant. Let's do this in Finder, because this is really annoying. Cool. This is the guy we want. That sweet little PNG right there. So I'm going to copy that. Paste it right there. Will this work? Oh yeah, looks awesome, right? It looks so good. Okay, let's resize this guy. Make him not look like Godzilla. Let's see, styles. We want to call this one Chew. Why not? And then we want to restrain the width to device width times 1.25. What the heck? Yes. You'll see why later. And then we want to also use the resize mode property and contain that. Cool. You know what? I might have lied. That looks really big. Yeah, okay. I think initially I had done that, but I changed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this code too, just to like try to get through this a little quicker. Nice. Okay, so we're setting the width to the width of the device. We are giving some negative margin just to pull it up. So that's like a nice little design trick that I've seen other good designers do, where you like just kind of give some more dimension. And since I'm using these shadows on the shoe, so the text kind of being behind the shoe even gives more of like a 3D effect, I guess. Gives you some more kind of like Z-index dimension. So yeah, I'm using some shadows. So if you've never used these, it's really cool. This is what it looks like. You give it a color, how much the opacity should be, and then your offset. And then, this is cool, shadow radius. If I didn't have that, it would look really dumb. Like that doesn't look good. So shadow radius is a basically a blur, blurs the shadow. So you get that nice little smooth box shadow behind it. And then I thought that was necessary. I might be wrong. We'll keep it for now. Or actually, you know what? We'll keep it commented out. I don't know if I needed this overflow visible or not. I don't know. Sometimes you write code and then it doesn't actually do anything and you don't realize that. Okay, cool. So now you can see, if you can see this, I can scroll on top of the shoe and the scroll view still scrolls. The shoe is on top. Everything looks good. So the reason why I wanted to do it this way, and it's kind of like a weird, wonky way, is I wanted the shoe to not move. So I didn't want it to scroll with the scroll view. I wanted to stay in the center and then do like that morphing effect. So this is the way I went about it. And it worked well for me. I think if you are careful with absolute positions and they're like near UI, like UI that's around them, you can get away with doing this. I don't use it very often, but if I know what I'm doing and I know that it's gonna scale to different device sizes, it's totally valid. You just gotta be careful and kind of know how things are gonna interact or not interact with each other. Cool. All right, now for the friggin' fun part. This is what you came here for, I think. we're going to turn this scroll view to an animated scroll view. We're going to make it magical. So we've already imported animated, so we're good to go. We just add this namespace in front of scroll view, so that way we're importing scroll view from animated. Cool. So here's some interesting stuff. If you've done this before, this will all look familiar, but if you haven't, this is how you set up an animated scroll view and attach an animated value to the content offset of the scroll view. So if you're going horizontal, it's going to be content offset X. So it'll be the X axis. And that's what we're doing today. So that's what we're going to do. But before we set up the, I forget what it's called. Before we do kind of what I was just talking about, we have to add a couple of special properties. So VS Code just like breaks sometimes. I don't know why. But I think it's scroll event throttle. Like usually you would give me autocomplete for that. So back in the day, you would usually put 16 here, as in kind of like, I guess that's like 60 frames per second, or it tries to be or something. This was back when the use native driver flag and the whole mechanism to put the basically animating and drawing UI, using animated to animate your UI on the native main thread wasn't a thing. So before you would do it like this, but now there was a little blog post and outline how to do this. Let's actually pull it up real quick. React Native animated blog post. Nope, that's documentation. Let's try use native driver. Here we go. This one by Yannick. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but this guy, really cool guy. He's done a lot of really cool stuff for React Native, so you should give him a... Sorry, my mind is blanking right now. I feel like it's his live stream. It feels weird. You should give him a round of applause. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, anyway, so in this blog post, he goes through and he kind of talks about how it works and how do I use this in my app. Gives you, that's if you're going to do like an animated dot timing or spring. So this little piece right here, this is what we're interested in. How we'd use it with scroll view. So before, man, I guess there wasn't an animated scroll view. You would just put on your scroll event throttle. So you would throttle it at 16 milliseconds. And then you would have this on scroll handler where you would use animated.event to set up your mapping of your animated value in the scroll content offset. So now this is the new way to do it. So you set your event throttle to 1. It says use 1 to make sure no events are ever missed. And then your on scroll looks like that. And we'll go ahead and just write that. I'm on the wrong piece of code. Okay, so on scroll. And I'm actually gonna set this up in the constructor. My bad. This should be props. I know how to code. I know things. Okay. So we're gonna set this up here. So we're gonna use animated.event, and that's a method. We're gonna open that up, and it takes in an array. So this first object, you are I forget what the name is, what it's called in JavaScript, but you're basically no, I told you wrong. The first argument is an array. The second one is just an object, I believe. So yeah, you're gonna do native event. So you're like, I don't know, if anyone knows what this is called, help me out. Native event dot content offset. You're basically drilling down into event dot native event dot content offset dot x is what we want, and then you're going to be assigning your variable, your instance of an animated dot value. You're going to be mapping that to the x. So I'm going to call this scroll view I'm going to call it content offset xval. Okay, so we're going to set this up, and it's going to be a new animated dot value. So create an instance of an animated value, and we're going to pass in 0. So we're going to initialize it with just 0. Okay, that looks good. And then the key thing right here, if we go back to that blog post, gotta add this. If you don't have this on, you're gonna be missing out on those buttery smooth animations. There we go. Autocomplete. And you need commas. Okay, sweet. So now what we have is this content offset xval. This is an animated value that is mapped to the scroll views x content offset. And we can pass this around. We can animate other stuff with this. We can do all sorts of really cool stuff. So I'm going to make this an array. How do I want to do this? I'll just inline it, I guess. So we'll create a new object right here. And just to see something working, let's go ahead and just add a transform, and we'll just rotate it. So transform takes an array of objects and one called rotate. So what we can now do is we can take our animated value content offset xval, and it has there's some special methods and properties and stuff on this now. So one of the methods is called interpolate. So we can interpolate this guy, and it accepts an object, I think. And with keys called input range, which is an array, output range, and then this little optional extrapolate key. So we're not going to extrapolate it just yet. I forget if I use that or not on this, but let's just try this and see if we can get something basic working. So the input range, it takes in the, so these are the values you're going to be interpolating with. The input range is going to be like the content offset. So basically if you scroll, so right now I haven't scrolled at all. that value, that content offset value is at 0. If I scroll like this, you can see it's moving. I've scrolled maybe like 80 or 120 points. So if you say like 0 to 120, that's you starting at 0 or from 0 scrolling to 120. So it's output range. This one's interesting. This is where you can actually specify. So in our case, we're doing a rotate, which is a string. We can actually specify at 0, we want 0 degrees. And then at 120, we want, let's do 360 degrees. And then it's going to figure out how to get from, as we scroll from 0 to 120, how to get to from 0 degrees to 360. Wait, what? I don't know why that is undefined. Are you sure? Oh, freaking A. All right. Man, had me tripping. The hot reload, I told you it was going to get me. I'm going to turn that off for now because that's... Yeah, I don't like that. All right. Whoa. Check it out. As I'm scrolling, we got some sweet natively driven animation. And if you notice, that shadow is looking all funky. I referenced that earlier, and I said I couldn't remember if I needed this style, but I do. So I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I need this overflow visible. So now when I do it, yo, it looks good. There's no weird cropping of like the shadow. Cool. So let me show you real quick this extrapolate. I've only ever used clamp. I know there's probably some other values that you can specify. And basically what clamp does is if I go negative, so I'm scrolling the opposite way, it's not going to do anything because it's outside of, so 0 to 120, right? I don't have any negative value specified. And then if I go 120, hold on, let me make this like 10 so you can actually see what I mean. So as I move 10, it rotates 360 degrees and it stops. But say this was, say we did have a clamp. Oh, it just freaking rotates all day long. Sometimes you want that. I'm not using clamp in the little circle animations, and that's a good thing. I think. Yeah, I think that's valid. Sometimes you want to clamp it, sometimes you don't. Okay. I gotta go use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Cool. All right, I'm back. I had a lot of coffee, so yeah, so sweet. We have created this animated image. We set up this animated value, and we're interpolate. So this animated value, we're mapping it to the scroll views X content offset X, and then we're interpolating that value with an input range and an output range. So let's grab what we want real quick, what we actually want for this animation. And it is up here somewhere. Oh, that's what I did earlier. Makes sense. I'm actually gonna grab this. Okay, I'm gonna paste this code and you're gonna get a little sneak peek of something cool. If you spot what it is. So, just to be like explicit and verbose, we'll start with animated. Okay, I'll try to keep something like this, like animated, whatever, the name of the thing, and then val. So animated shoe rotation val. So since this is the old code, I have to fix a couple of things. But I'm trying this like up here in the constructor to not like do it inline in the template, just because it's a little bit cleaner. I don't really know which one I prefer yet. I think I might prefer this one, just because when you're looking at your JSX, it's really nice and clean. Not a whole lot going on. But yeah, to get to something really interesting, this is one of the top, I think, interesting things of what I was gonna talk about in this video, is this little trick right here. So in our input range, our array, when you're doing any type of consistent paging values, in my case, each page is the width of the device, so edge to edge. You can use that and you can leverage that, and what you can do is when you're mapping over, if say you have like 20 of these things, when you're mapping over them, you have an index for them. You can use the index to basically, let me pull up Sketch real quick. Let me just do a little visual thing so you understand what I mean, because it's pretty sweet. All right, so I'm gonna draw a rectangle at the size of an iPhone 10. And yeah, I don't know how to do a dash, but imagine this red border is the frame. So this is your screen. And then I'm gonna make the views, make them green. So when you set up your scroll view, you have something like this. Here, I'll do, no, it's too much. 50, 75. Okay, cool. So imagine these three green square rectangles. These are each of your pages, and then this this right here, that's actually your screen. That's the frame of your phone. That's the window, whatever you want to call it. So as you're going through, let me lock this. Cool. So as you're scrolling through, right, it has the snapping, so it's gonna snap to like each one of these. So what this little piece of code that I'm showing you does, it accounts for the slide before, the current slide that you're seeing right now, and the next slide. So that's what enables you to get this smooth, consistent animation when you're going backwards, forwards, any direction you're going in. So let me use this value and you'll see what I mean. Oh, my bad. I don't have this.props.index. So imagine this is just, for now, 0, 1, 2. I think I'm missing something from my old code. Let's check real quick. It could be... Okay, let me just grab all of these. So translate X and scale. Let's set those up real quick because it might be what's messing me up here. So we're gonna add another object with a translate X key, and we will call it this animated shoe translate X val. And then we'll do another one for scale. We'll put it above this one. All right, this is the animated shoe rotation. No, shoe. We'll do translate X first. Equals this dot content offset X val interpolate, and I have the interpolate code already, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab that. Then we'll want to fix this real quick since we don't have these set up yet. That should be 2. Okay, looking good. No, it's not. Oh yeah, because I have to set up the last one. Duh. Okay, let's grab that code. Shoe scale. This seems right. Now I changed these values. I need to remember to update them later because I changed from 1 on purpose. But for the sake of showing you really quick, I just want to have it pretty simple. Still not working. Okay, let me simplify this. This is doing what I expect, but just to make sure. So basically we want -1, 1, and 2, but we want that to be dynamic from the right index. So it'd be like -1. Wait a second. Oh, okay. I just realized what's happening. No? There we go. Sorry about that. It took me a minute to see what's going on. That's what I get for kind of trying to rebuild this, doing it live. Vanilla Codes asks, what font do I use and what theme in VS Code? I'm using SF Mono, so San Francisco Mono. I'm on Mac OS, and that's just a font that comes on the system. And the theme is Night Owl, I think it's called. Hold on, let me check real quick. Yeah, Night Owl by Sarah Drasner. It's pretty sick. I've been using it for a good little while now, and it feels really good on my eyes. I tried a really cool pastel one recently that was like a lighter theme, and my eyes were just like super tired after a couple of hours. So yeah, I dig it. It's nice. Okay, cool. So let me try to go through this code again since I totally screwed up and explain what's happening. So since we only have one page right here, what we're doing in this code is we're taking device width times -1. So what that means is, in this specific scenario, that's this slide right here. Okay? And then we take, I hard-coded 0 for now. That's going to be this middle one, because we initialize our value, our animated value at 0. So that's middle one. And then device width. So imagine if I move this middle one, if I moved it over device width, which in this case for my phone it's 375, boom, it's gonna be right there. So it's gonna be that next slide. So we're taking the input range. My bad, yeah. I'm gonna minimize this. That's driving me nuts. I keep going to it. So previous slide, current slide, next slide. But again, we're hard coding this for now because I just wanted to get it working. But we will use the index of the pages to be able to have this line up for infinite number of pages. And then from there, our output range is really just what we want to animate, like what we want the value to go to. So for translate X val, you know what? That one's old. I don't need that since I'm using the absolute position. I can get rid of that real quick. I think. Let's see. Yeah, I don't need that because it's not going to be moving with the scroll view. That's what I was mentioning earlier. If you wanted to like not use position absolute and you wanted to, you're basically you're emulating it not moving, but it really is. So if the scroll view is going this way, you're pushing the UI this way, and it looks like it's just standing still. So that's what that was doing. But it's not in the scroll view, so I don't need to do that. So yeah, for like the scale, I'm just going from 0 to 1. So once I get on the active page, so basically right here, when I'm in this situation, it's at 1. And then if I keep scrolling, it goes to 0. And if I duplicate this a couple times, I can show you real quick. Well, no, I can't because that's absolutely positioned. So it's going to be on top of each other. Anyways, once we make it through having more than one of these pages, you'll see, and it'll look dope. Cool. All right, so we have our first shoe. At this point, I want to go ahead and set up a little mock data set so we can map over that and have more than one of these pages before we build out anything else. I think that'll make it a lot easier. So I'm going to pull out this view. I'm going to call it animated shoe. sounds fine, right? I'm going to, why don't we just make it another file? Stick with the whole cleanliness. AnimatedChew.js. So we're gonna import React from React, right? I don't ever do this that much, so I forget. Yeah, that's right. We'll just go ahead and export a default class. It's that, right? I've been writing Swift, so it's like there's capitalized words. Extends React.component. Okay, cool. We need a render method, and we need to return this stuff that I had set up. Okay, so I can't scroll at this point because I got to, these things don't exist inside of this class. So I'm going to go ahead and pass those as properties. Actually, it's just one. It's one animated value that I'm going to end up animating a bunch of stuff off of. We'll just call it animated value. Why not? So that's the variable I set up called content offset xval. So need to set up a constructor. And I need to grab these two guys. And then change this to this.props .animated. You know what? I'm gonna set this up as a constant, so it's clean. So it's going to read animated value dot interpolate. Need to import animated chew. We need to set up this. Go ahead and grab these React Native imports. And I need animated. Don't need scroll view. Don't need image because we're pulling that from animated. No safe area view. I can't remember if I need view. Don't need these. I might need style sheet. I'll leave that one. Styles. It'd be really sweet if there was a way to componentize something and it just like magically hook everything up for you from one file to the next, All right, sweet. So that's going to help us out a lot, I think. Remove a couple of these. I think I only need starting from here. Yeah, cool. Cool. For now, I'm going to set up that mock data just right here. So we'll just say data equals an array of objects. And No, we'll call this shoes. So there's a name. You know what? Yeah, I'm doing this in a weird way. So it's not like it's one singular thing. I kind of have the text on the top and the bottom. That's one thing. And then the shoe is one thing. Oh, shoot. Is there no video? Oh, okay. It might have just been for you and Esteli. I don't know. Let me know. Is it good now? Hopefully. Okay. We'll just do shoe images. And this will just be an array of strings. I think this should be fine. Hopefully. I don't know if this is a weird way to do it, but this is how I'm gonna do it. So we'll just start off for one for now. I'm gonna use this to be able to map over and return these components. So shoe images.map. Source and index. And then we're gonna return this component. That we still want to pass in this animated value. But at this point, we want to maybe source will be fine. Okay, we need to add the key. And we'll just use source because they should all be unique. I'm gonna see if I can do a require here. I don't know if this will work. Doesn't seem to like that. What I can do I think maybe is do this. This dot process source. Sweet, that works. All right, cool. So now what I can do is just duplicate this a couple of times. And so they're all stacked on top of each other. You can see that shadow is like super black. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. But to do that, I need to pass in the index. So that way I can replace these values up here. Okay, back to this little trick. So what it is you start off, the first one we want to do the previous slide. So it's going to be device width times index minus 1. Okay, so it's going to, in math, it's going to do this little subtraction first, since we're using parens, and then multiply device width by that. So that's exactly what we want. This one's going to be device width if I can type, times index. So it'll be the one you're looking at. And finally, the last one will be index plus 1. And I'm gonna get fancy on you guys. Since this is the same thing, I'm gonna set this up as a constant. Like this never changes. It's always going to be that exact same thing. That's what we want. And I believe I can do something like this. Oh, cool. We got something working. So you see as I'm scrolling, that next shoe is coming in. It's not in at the beginning. So what we did is, I realize this might be confusing to people that aren't used to this, but imagine this, you're starting at your scroll view right here. So this is the width of your device, and your scroll view is actually, it's overflowing. So it's going further past the screen. So as you're moving that basically giant view over back and forth, you need to know at what point in the translation of that you want to animate each page, each UI on each page. In our case right now, it's a shoe. So for every page, there's a shoe. But we're doing this weird workaround where I didn't want the shoe to actually scroll. I just want it to be in the center and morph. So they're basically on top of each other. And I need to know at the right time as I'm scrolling when to rotate it and scale it and do all that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to be doing basically the same animation based on the scroll position, the same type of animation later on, and that'll be easier. We're going to animate the text, the scale value of the text, the quotes, and the price. That one's a whole lot easier. I should have started with that. Hopefully I didn't confuse y'all too much. Or maybe you liked it. I don't know. Okay. So keep in mind, this is definitely a prototype. So the way I'm doing this kind of mock data, I don't know, there might be a better way to kind of do that, because I'm going to essentially have two data sets that need to have the same length. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to set up the actual scroll view pages. Let's say shoe descriptions. And this will be an object. So we'll give a key called quotes, which would be the air. We need a price. So this is going to be an integer. I'm going to use some cool little JavaScript later to get it how I want it. And then we want the name and thumbnails, which will be an array of images. So let's get this first one set up. Be that guy right there. And that actually works for now. I'm gonna leave thumbnails blank. So I'm gonna create two more. And then I'm gonna map over this to get my scroll view pages. So I'm gonna take this view. That's what we'll return. And description. You know what? I don't think we need an index. I don't think. So we'll just do it like that. So this will be. I'm doing a lot of like ES6 destructuring stuff, so I'm gonna just kind of keep with that. Hopefully you guys know what I'm doing with this. So quotes, price, name. We'll do those for now. So quotes, that's going to be the air, the queen, the vulcanized, that big like title text. This turns into name. And then this, I'm going to keep that money sign. Remember that, you want that in there. This is a nice little way to handle this, I think. I'm going to do price dot to locale string. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, sweet. It's looking exactly like what we expect. And if you notice, now we have a couple of pages that we can scroll through. And our shoe already looks really good. It's not quite there, but it's almost there. So let's remove that background color because we don't need that anymore. Oh, I forgot to add the key. Let me add the key to that real quick. Oh yeah, okay. Those will be different because we're not going to have any duplicate shoes. So we'll do air. I forget what exactly it was. Air. The second one's air. But that one's priced at $710. And it's called Air Force One Volt. And the next one, we actually get a new name. It's pretty cool. It's priced at $1,008. And these are called the Serena. This is what I call them. Serena Air Max 97. So if we check that out, we should have some new content. So the shoe isn't changing because we haven't set that up yet. But if you notice the price change on this one and the name of the shoe, and then this one, the quotes, price, and name, everything changed. Also, really quickly, if you notice on my phone at the bottom, so like right down here, this little line that's moving, that's the scroll indicator. That looks super gross, so I'm gonna remove that real quick. And that's a property called shows horizontal scroll indicator. And I'm gonna set that to false. It's messing up my vibe. Cool, so that's no longer there. Those are useful, but this is a prototype, so I don't care. I just stripped it out. But I noticed, I think, a little warning, so let's see what that's saying. There's duplicate keys. Yeah. Let's fix that real quick. So let's see what this is called. The Jordan 1 UNC, I think. No, hold on. Retro High, North Carolina. My bad. That's not the right one. I want to do it exactly how I had it in the Expo version. So it's actually the Air Force One Volt. Cool. I'll just type it. Air Force One Volt.png, and then we have I think Serena's next. So we have the Air Serena is what I called it. Nice. Got some new images. It's looking good. And we got rid of our warning. Nice. Okay. Okay, all right. I remember why this animation is off. I need to go back to the old code and grab what the values. I ended up tweaking these values. So shoe rotate. So I actually do 0.5 for the rotate. And this is the interesting thing about taking these animated values and interpolating them. You can totally experiment so much. You you can totally experiment so much with these values and get like wildly different results. So one of the reasons I love this animated engine and this API is because you can be so expressive and you can experiment, and it's so easy once you have everything set up to just try different things super quickly. So for creativity, that is super powerful. And I realize I can't pull this out as a constant because they're going to be different. So, whoops. So we go ahead and add these back. But since I destructured, it's as easy as that right there. Or not destructured, but use the object shorthand or whatever that's called. And what I was trying to do is change this to 0.5. And then for the scale, I did 0.8 and 0.2. And you'll see in a second what this means, why this is important. .2. Okay. Now, what we should see is the shoes, they should morph into each other much more naturally. So as that one goes out, that one comes in. So I had to offset this subtraction and addition to get the exact effect that I was wanting. So when you go fast, it like looks really cool. It looks really natural and kind of like they're turning into each other. When really you can see I was just able to line up the ending of this shoe and the beginning of the next shoe. So it's kind of an illusion. But it looks cool. I don't know, I like it. It's bouncy. It's morphy. It's dope. So yeah, definitely experiment. The only rule for this is this input range should be monotonically monotonic function. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to joke because that's the error it gives you. Like, here, if I do this, it's gonna blow up. Input range supposed to be monotonically non-decreasing. Basically what that means is the order of your array, you have to start from smallest value and go to largest value. So if I tried to like flip these, it's gonna blow up. It's not gonna work. So as long as you have that, you're good. But then beyond that, like as long as you're paying attention to that rule and you're adhering to it, you're golden. Beyond that, you can start experimenting. You can, instead of a 1, I did 0.8, I did 0.2. And then these values, you could do 0.5. Like, it's so cool. And then you can add on. You can do another one. So like say I wanted to, I'm not going to show you on this because it probably wouldn't be cool. But I might show you later. But yeah, this is super powerful. This is where all the experimentation happens. All right, so we're looking good. You notice our titles are looking good, but this queen is like too high. I don't like that. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. Like, I feel like there could be a view right here that's around that tall, or maybe as tall as this air, the tallest title, and they can kind of be vertically centered with each other. So let me do that real fast. And I will be putting all this stuff on GitHub for you guys to check out, for y'all to check out. And it should be pretty clean. It should be more easy to understand. I'm trying to keep it clean and organized right now, so that way if you want to dig through this code later, totally can. I don't really know how to do this, what I'm wanting to do. I forgot how I did it on this code. Also, okay, sweet. Yeah, this stream is gonna be kind of long because it's my first one, so I'm like getting used to this. But we're at an hour 45, so it's not too terribly bad. This actually took me, I don't know, like 8 to 10 hours to build from conception to finishing it. So if we can get it done in like 2 to 3 hours, that's not bad. Yes. Okay. I did do this. I had the same idea I had last time. I had that idea just now. So what I'm going to do to get these titles kind of centered with each other, with the ones that are different heights, I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to change this to, because that's too long, to quotes text. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's only in 2 places, so I'm good. I'm gonna say quotes text container. And this is gonna build up my my little ability to center it. So at this point, I want to go ahead and set up the device height. So I'm gonna call it device height. So pulling this out of dimensions.getWindow. It's a nice little thing I've used quite often. And I'm gonna hard code this height. Again, I don't really like doing this, but for this specific instance, it worked out nicely. And I actually only looked at it on 2 different devices, so it might not be super great, but for me it worked, and I was like, whatever, let's just do it. Cool. All right, so now you see that queen and heir, they're now centered with each other. So if I use this little background color trick to see what it actually looks like, it's about that tall for this specific device. So inside of this plum rectangle, we're centering the title. And it still looks kind of weird right now, but we have some other things we need to do that'll make it look more natural and look good. So that'll work for now. Sweet. Let's go ahead and animate this text. We're going to animate the quotes title thing and then the price. If we look back at my demo, that's the only, those are the only pieces of text that I animate. And they have a little scale animation. I think that was it. I don't know if I animated anything else, but we shall see. So I'm gonna jump back to the old code real quick. And I'm just gonna copy this. It's animated view. I'm gonna wrap this text around it. Quotes text container. You know what? I don't need this extra view. Yeah. I want to turn, whoa, I don't know what just happened. I'm going to turn this view into an animated view. And then my VS Code's broken right now. So when I try to do like highlight text and like put it inside of brackets, it just deletes the text. I have to fix that. I know how to fix that, I just haven't done it yet. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to scale this quotes heir. We want to do a scale animation as we scroll. So we'll call this, if we look at animated shoe, scale xval, that's not right. A little X slipped in there. That doesn't make any sense because it's just scale. But we want to do, I'll just keep it the same. So animated text scale val. And this is going to be the same for, I reused them for the quotes and for the price. So we don't need any way to differentiate between the two. We're going to set this up in the constructor. Content offset xval, so our animated value. So keep in mind, everything that we're animating here, it's all coming off of this one instance of an animated value. It's pretty sweet. So you can animate as many things as you want off of just one single value. Because you get the power from this interpolate. So let me grab what's inside of here. And I do want to componentize this thing too. So that way I can get my indices working correctly. So I'll call this shoe description. Jasmine, yo, appreciate the comments, making me feel like I'm not alone here. Yeah, definitely will be on GitHub. So, but yeah, I appreciate you like saying stuff. So I feel like I'm not just like staring at my computer and talking to myself. We'll call this animated. No, we'll just call this shoe description. I don't know, it's kind of weird because not everything in it's animated, but we'll just say shoe description.js. Go ahead and do all this boilerplate stuff. Where's my autocomplete, man? We want to return this. And then let's grab these React Native imports. We don't need these. Well, no, we need style sheet, yeah. It's tripping. Let's grab these styles. We'll want to put this key on the inside of here. I think. Let's import it real quick. Okay, cool, cool. I should wait to remove all the React Native stuff to actually get everything in here because I needed dimensions. All right, so we're gonna grab this and put it up here. I'm gonna go to animated shoe and grab out this jazz because I'm gonna need the same thing. So we'll just interpolate animated value. You know what? Wait, no. I'm on the right track. We need to pass in, go back here and pass an index. know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do it like this. And we will pull it in like this. So I know that there was one called quotes, there's price, there was a name, and there was thumbnails. Equals the start props. What? Oh. Okay, I forgot to pass in this animated value. Let's pass that in. It's undefined for good reason. That's weird. I don't know why that's undefined. Ah, yes I do. I did not do this right. I believe I can do this right here. Nice. That works. Cool. All right. So we got that pulled onto a component. That's looking good. Yes. All right. I forgot why I pulled that out as a component for a second. I couldn't remember, but now I do. I think, I don't know. To be honest, I can't remember. But what I do know is we can do this right here. We can take this exact same object and we can put it on the price. So I'm gonna add another animated view. Animated view. All right, cool. Now, so you can tell, we have the quotes title, the big title, and then the price are both animating with a little bit of scale action. Let's go ahead and update our mock data to include all of the shoes. So we have 2 more. And they are called... You know what? I gotta use the restroom again. Take like a 30-second break. I'll be right back. All right, cool. So this one is called Retro High, North Carolina. And the last one is the Converse one. I called that Chuck Taylor's. Cool. There might be a better way for me to like mock up this data and not have to have like two. I don't know. It's not too bad for right now. So I know this next one is Air. It's priced at $1,500. It's called Jordan Retro Jordan 1 Retro High UNC. The last one is called Vulcanized, or the quotes Vulcanized, but they're actually called. This is the general name. I don't know what some of these are actually like called officially, but from what I could gather doing a little bit of research, Chuck Taylor All-Star 70s Off-White version, something like that. All right, if we go back real quick, save that. We now should have all of our shoes, and we do. And Vulcanizes there. It stretches out to be full width of the phone, and it's vertically centered. So it just looks really nicely. This was one of the things, now that we're animating the text, that I was saying these titles would look more natural. Because when they were buttered up against each other, just moving like this, it looked like garbage. But I definitely wanted to center them vertically in a box. I think it looks really nice. Cool. I'm gonna add the thumbnails real quick, and then we're gonna get on to one of the things that I thought was really fun building, which were those gradient balls. And actually, real quick, I just realized I need to install a dependency. So with Expo, the Expo SDK, it comes with a linear gradient, but just vanilla React Native does not. So I'm gonna pull up the most popular one that I've used many times. React Native linear gradient. So cool project. I haven't, you know what? They moved this repo. I was about to say, I've started this before, but you know what? It's so good. I'm going to start this one too. Cool. I'm going to grab that name. Let's add this real quick. Hey, where are you guys watching from? Y'all, sorry, I keep saying guys. I'm trying not to say guys anymore. Where are y'all watching from? I'd love to see in the comments. I don't know if there's a way on Twitch for me to see like in real time where y'all are in the world watching. But yeah, hit it up in the comments. I personally am in Dallas, Texas. And it's about 9:40. Wait. My phone is tripping so hard. It says 9:41. It's not 9:41. It's 12:36. Yeah.
I thought so.
Freaking Siri. It's 12:36. My phone's acting crazy. Okay. So that installed successfully. That's good. React Native. We want to link it now. So link the native code. And there's this command that comes with React Native called link. It's really nice. So we want to link this up real quick. I think there's a flag for only iOS. let me look real quick because I'm just curious. Oh, I don't really know what I'm doing, obviously. Is this a thing? No. All right, it's okay. I'll link it for Android. I'm not using Android, but actually, since I'm gonna push this to GitHub, I need to do this. I don't know what I'm thinking. Cool. So it says it linked the React Native Linear Gradient iOS dependency. It's been, the module is successful for iOS. Same for Android. Awesome. I do not know if I need to restart this, but for good measure, we will. I'm gonna run that little command, React Native run -iOS to rerun the project. Do y'all use Expo? Anybody that's watching live right now? Do you use Expo? What are your thoughts? I know there's a lot of mixed feelings with Expo that I've seen personally. More so positive. A lot of people really dig it, but I do know of some people that are like not into it for various reasons. Me personally, I like it a lot. I use it for a lot of prototyping because it's so quick to get stuff up and running. And you don't need Xcode or Android Studio or anything. I am planning to release some apps, and one of the apps that I want to release to the Apple App Store and Google Play Store is through Expo, because I just want to see what that process looks like, because I'm interested to just know what it actually ends up being, because I've never done it. All right, while that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and write some more code. Why don't we add these thumbnails real quick? So it's going to be an array of these require statements, just like we did before. Assets, and then, so this is for the red Jordan Retro 1. I'm just gonna copy that real fast. And then luckily, I named these with numbers, so there's 3 of them. Or I suffix them with a hyphen and a number. So that's easy. Pull this down a bit. Paste those there. This next shoe is the Volt, Air Force One Volt. So next one is a Serena Air Max. I called that Queen. Jordan 1, probably UNC, maybe? Yeah. And then for the Converse, I did Converse. My naming is like all over the place. I didn't wait, it is working. Ooh, interesting. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. Let me hook up these thumbnails. So it's going to be in shoe description. And these will be images. The source of it's going to be thumbnails. So 0, 1, 2. We're gonna do resize mode on these as well. I'm not sure if it's necessary, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. Let's see if it worked. Phone just died, dang it. All right, we need to import image. Oh, okay. So I need a containing view. It doesn't like that I tried to put some border styles on the image. It's not valid. So I'm going to duplicate this, call it thumbnail and thumbnail container. And I'll keep all of that stuff. You know what? I don't need this. I just need the container. The image should be fine. It should resize itself. I'm gonna grab this style. We're gonna wrap these images in some views. Cool beans. And then like that. That should work. All right, cool. Whoa, that image is so large. You know why? Because we didn't give it any dimensions. So I do need one called thumbnail with a simple width and height will suffice. Thumbnail. Okay, that looks better. But something is missing. I have to rename. That should work. And I think it needs some padding. Maybe. We'll see if this works. I'm not sure if it will. No, it didn't. Well, I don't understand why that wouldn't work. Ooh, I got it. Yeah, I didn't need to supply height and width to the thumbnail container because it's containing the image which has height set. So that was actually, since I was trying to do that, that introduced a bug where the dash border was cut off on the right and bottom side. Cool. Everything is looking good. Very nice. It's inside of the safer area view. Got our shoes animating nicely and our text animating good. I think the last thing to do is do that gradient little bubble thing. I don't know if this ever actually... Okay, I'm hoping that this is the new bundle with the linear gradient dependency, because I'm about to try to use that. So let's go back to that real quick. Let's look at what this looks like to try to use this. So essentially you have this prop called colors, which is can accept an array. Whoops, my bad. An array of colors. There's some other cool stuff you can do. There's a start and an end. So you can specify where you want your first, I'm gonna call it color stop, your first color stop to start and the end point. No, wait. Yeah, the start and the end. So it's not like 1 and 2. It could be 1 and like color stop, like 10, because you could have 10 different colors inside of a gradient. So what I'm actually gonna do is, yeah, I really don't. I feel like I did this kind of weird, but for the sake of just showing you how to do this, I'm going to stick with it. We'll just say bubbles is an array. I think I could do something like this. Fill. I forget what exactly it is I'm trying to do. Okay, yeah, I think it's just fill. So I want 5. You know what? Just to be a little bit safer, even though this is stupid, I will do show images dot length. And at least I'll be safe with the right number of bubbles. Okay, looking back at the demo, the bubble is behind the shoe. So one way you can do this, referring to z-index stuff, is you can literally in your template, you can just put it on top of. So in your template right here, I'm gonna put the bubbles right here. These shoe images, and these animated shoes are below it in the code, but when on the actual screen, it's gonna be one level higher of a z-index. So I'll show you what I mean. I think I probably just want the index out of this. I'm gonna componentize this too. Well, I want to pull this up real quick because I was using a phone, an older phone, to see the comments on Twitch, and then it died. So I don't know if anyone's trying to say anything. Okay, I don't see the previous chats, which is frustrating. But anyways, a little inception going on. But I'm gonna try to use that to see if there's any chats because I want to answer any questions that y'all have. So I'm not gonna start off with a view. I'm gonna actually componentize this. I'm gonna leave it as bubble because it could technically, it doesn't have to be a gradient. Well, you know what? It really doesn't matter. Let me just paint myself into a corner because I think it might just be more explicit and easier to understand. Okay, I want a new folder. No, new file. I'm gonna grab this stuff just to get set up. Go ahead and just export this as a default. Extends. I'm just looking at this code real quick I'm trying to decide if I want to just try to reuse all of this because it was kind of tricky and I don't want to take forever just like recreating the math. Whereas I could just copy this and maybe kind of go over it to explain what's happening. Let's see. No, I'm just gonna copy it because I don't think this is not really like important stuff. This is just like, this is just a bunch of like measuring math stuff, like calculations and stuff. And it took me a while to get it right, so I don't want to spend an hour trying to get it right again. We'll have to edit it a little bit to get it to do what I needed to do though. So I'm gonna grab everything inside of this render method and just paste it, and then we'll kind of like fix it and go over what's happening. Did I grab the whole thing? No, I think I need up to here. That looks right. Okay, so we have this initial top. I'm gonna pull these out and just make them constants. And real quick, let me remove that. And that, okay. So I do need one more variable that I had set up called ball width. So it's a 1:1 aspect ratio. So I only need the width because I'll be able to just use the height to be the exact same. So it could be called like ball size or something, but what I'm doing is I'm setting up the size of that lime green and yellow, those balls right there, those gradient balls. I'm setting up the initial size that I want. So that's when it's in this state. So it's going to take the width of the device and times that by 1.25. So I don't know, it'll be maybe 25% larger. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but it's bigger. Goes off of the screen. And then I'm setting a couple of offsets. So the initial top and initial left, because if you notice, it's kind of, it's not centered. It's pulled up and over. So you get this kind of like, I don't know, you get that little design. I think it looks pretty sweet. So I set that up, and let me grab the, sorry, I already grabbed that. I'm good. So let me break down what's happening real quick. It's an animated view that is absolutely positioned, and it has a top and left initial offset. It has a width and height, and then it has a transform. That's going to be the animation. This dot top is a terrible name, so I'm going to rename that. But let me set it up in here real quick. So back in my main app.js file, I need to do the same things I've been doing. So give it the animated value, give a key and an index. I don't know, does this still gripe at you when you try to do index? It might. I don't know, that's weird. We'll see in just a second. I'm surprised it didn't freak out on me, because that doesn't exist. No clue why. I feel like that should break because I'm missing stuff, but let's just keep going. So go back to here. I'm gonna grab some of the same type of stuff, and I'm definitely duplicating a lot of code, so I feel like there's something better I could do, but it is what it is for now. So we're gonna change these to animated value, and then every instance of this.props.index will just become index. Animated wait, what was this? Top. Animated bubble, translate y val. That was left. So we'll do X right there. And here's scale, so we'll do scale. And then we need to update that in I missed one right here. Update that down here. So scale val for the scale. Translate y. And x. I'm gonna kill that and kill that as well. Pull up my terminal. Let's rerun it. I feel like something's not right. It's probably weird, really weird for y'all to like see me on so many screens. I'm not doing that the right way at all. I need like a second computer or something. All right, I'm gonna, while that's doing its thing, taking forever, I'm gonna look through this code and just see if everything is looking good to me. Oh, I just realized, okay, so these little bubbles that I just like made this little like fake array, not fake array, but just like do this weird thing. That is not gonna work. I actually do need to throw some stuff in here. So for each bubble, I just thought of a better way to handle this mock data, but I'll worry about that later. I'll hard code it for now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna each bubble is gonna have actually two properties that we set and one constant property that we can just set on there and we don't ever have to change it. But the two that we wanna change are colors. So we wanna specify what colors we want, which is an array. And the second is called it's like locations, yeah. And I'll show you what that means when we get to it. So locations is also an array. So if I think it's down here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I actually already have this data. So I can just copy paste. I'm just trying to grab all these so I don't have to go back and forth. Boom. Let's see if I can get rid of some of this stuff that I don't want. Oh, maybe it'll work. Oh no, I accidentally deleted something. Okay, I can at least take that and I can copy from here. So got those, we want this array. And we're gonna have 5 of these, so 2, 3, 4, 5. And just for sanity, I'm gonna delete these because they're like confusing me right now. I'm gonna leave them blank so that way I know which one I'm on that I need to fill out. Also, I'm gonna use some features to help me out because I realize I'm doing this a really terrible way. Boom. There we go. All right. now all of our data is set up for our gradients that we want them to be a very specific way. It didn't happen by accident. It was by design for sure. Okay, so on bubbles, we're mapping over them, and we'll just call this gradient data. And it never installed to my phone, I don't think. I really don't understand why this doesn't work sometimes. But this gives me a chance to show you a cool little tool that comes when you have Xcode downloaded in like the developer tools or whatever it is. You can use this little command called xed. I don't know how to say it, but it's xed, and then wherever the directory is that contains a Xcode project. And that will, I already had it open. I forgot I had it open, but normally if you don't have it open, it'll get that open for you. Because sometimes I've found that I need to go in here and like manually build the project onto my phone. Okay, so we'll wait for that to do its thing. Did I have that? Metro is running. All right, let's just look at the code one more time and let's see if it's looking straight to us. So we got this component. We're supplying all the necessary stuff. We can go ahead and set up this gradient data. And in here we have colors and locations. So do like that. And locations. And then I've set up the end. So colors, locations, and then start and end. I'm setting those as well. So basically what I'm doing is at the start, this is like XY or YX. I forget what it is, but basically I have the gradient. So it's going to be a line. It's a linear gradient, right? So I have the starting point, I think, to the top right, and then the ending point at the bottom left. So the gradient's going this way. Yeah. And in a second, once this runs, I'll show you the locations, the little trick I did to get better looking gradients. Because when I first did this, I didn't mess with locations at all. And my sketch design file, where I had customized gradients, and my Expo project, where I was using linear gradient, the same thing actually, it looked so bad. It was so like muted and the colors weren't like bright, like popping. But I ended up realizing that I needed to change the locations. So as soon as that's good, I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. Dude, this thing takes forever. I swear. I don't know why it's so slow. I feel like it's normally not like this. What does this mean? No clue. Man, I don't know. It seems like it's kind of stuck. I'm gonna kill this Metro bundler. Yeah. Oh, something bad happened. I'm gonna force quit Xcode. Okay, let's try this again. It's taking a minute here. What's up, dude? What are you doing? Oh, you guys can see my dog. His name's Barry. What up, baby? You don't know, but people are watching us. We're live on Twitch. If this stream is like 20 hours long, I'm gonna blame this React Native build. This thing is ridiculously slow. It could be my computer too. Obviously, some of it is part of just my computer not being super powerful, but still. It's taking way too long. I'm gonna unplug for a second so I can use my phone and you can spy on me. Yo, shout out Justin Clark. If you're watching, shout out, man. Thanks for the love. Me and Justin, we actually used to work together. I worked with Justin at a place years ago before I even did, before I was a developer and wrote code professionally. I was a graphic designer. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if I mentioned this. I am going to be posting this to YouTube later. So, and I'm thinking about possibly trying to cut out some of this just stuff that's taking forever. So that way it maybe is more interesting to go through. I realize I unplugged my phone as I'm trying to build the app on my phone. Not the move. That's not the move. I hope I didn't mess anything up, but I probably did. Seems like it's getting hung up on build task 515. Okay, there it goes. As soon as I say that. Finally, all right. We are almost back in action. Nice. If we're lucky, we might have those gradient bubbles on screen. If I didn't miss anything. Which it looks pretty good to me. So hopefully it just works. I swear it would take this long when I try to live stream it. Okay, we forgot to import linear gradient from React Native linear gradient. Yo, we have something. But you know what? I'm not going to do the pointer events trick on this. What I'm actually going to do is the z-index trick. So I'm going to move this at the very beginning. And that will fix the text being covered up right now. And the fact that I couldn't scroll anything. Cool. All right, one thing real quick. Let me, before I go through this gradient bubble code, let me fix the text. The text should, right down here, it's like on top of that bubble. It needs to be scooted up. So I'm gonna give it some bottom margin. So yeah, I think this right here, I can just throw it right here. Margin bottom. That's why it wasn't reloading. I didn't have it enabled. Live reload. All right, cool. That's another kind of weird thing that I'm just kind of hard coding. But if you were actually building an app that you're trying to deploy to an app store or working on an app that's currently in production, like make sure when you do weird stuff like this that you really kind of know what you're doing and you're checking it, because you can get into some nasty UI bugs that nobody likes. But again, for this purpose, it's a prototype, so I don't really mind kind of doing this in the quick and easy way, not figuring out the hard way of how to kind of do that. All right, so that looks good to me. Looks just like the original prototype. Pretty much. Here, let's see. Maybe those cards could come down just a little bit because they're kind of higher in my new one. Maybe like 48. That looks pretty good. That's pretty spot on right there. One thing real quick before I get in. Sorry, the second thing, because I already said one thing. These warnings. Hold on. Oh, interesting. So this module actually doesn't give me the warning, but in Expo, I was getting a warning about locations. Hold on. Let me look at the data source so I can explain this. I was getting a warning that locations right here, the length is 3, right? And the colors array is 2. So I was getting this warning that they didn't match, but this is totally valid. What I'm doing is I'm setting the first color stop, the second color stop, and then one in the middle, which essentially looks like if I were to draw out a circle here and give it a gradient, something similar to what I'm actually using. So like I start there, I end here. Let's say that's red, and this will be, let's say purple. That'll look pretty cool. Actually, let me recreate the first one that I did, because there's a reason why I wanted to do it this way. All right, so if we look real quick, this first one, it's this blue and then this red color. So you see this like gross looking kind of like gray color in the middle? I didn't want that. That did not look good to me. And then this blue is all like blown out. So what I did is, this is a little trick, little design trick. I pulled these stops closer into each other. So you see how you start getting this like more interesting looking gradient where you have these real vibrant colors kind of on the outsides. And then the, like you could even do like that, you know, just like play with it. Anyways, Expo was telling me that that wasn't valid. I was like, nope, that is valid. Because I literally got the code from this application where you can draw stuff and generate native iOS code, like UIKit stuff. That's an aside. I don't know why I spent so long talking about that, but yeah, we got it looking good. Everything's about right. Looking pretty sweet. Let me go over this code and what it's actually doing. So I am absolutely positioning the bubble. I have an initial offset, top offset and left offset. So I kind of pull it up and to the left, a negative value, which is, you know, you see you guys right here. So it gives it that cool initial position. And then I'm transforming the X and Y, which is interesting. I forget why I did this, but it's not a terrible way to do it. I might have had a reason. If I remove this, it might not work. But I basically have one animated view that's handling the X and Y translation animation of the bubble. And then I have this nested animated view that has the scale. So as it grows and stuff. I might have been able to make that into one view. I don't remember why I did that, but I did. Another little thing, when you're doing border radius and you're using something like React Native Linear Gradient or the Expo one, it's not gonna work initially. You have to set an overflow of hidden. So you see how like now it's like a square, which is kind of cool. It looks kind of cool, but I prefer the circle. So make sure to set that overflow to hidden. And then inside of this nested animated view, I have finally our linear gradient, which has our colors, location, start, end, and then a style of style sheet, this time absolute fill object. So an object containing all those styles we want. And I maybe could have combined these two, I think, as well. And what I could have done is Animated has this method called animated.createAnimatedComponent. So this might have been valid. I could have set it up to so here's some little docs on it. Make any React component animatable. So you can do like that, and then you could pass in linear gradient, like so. But I didn't do that, and I don't think it's a super big deal. I only have, 2 views, 3 views. So these 2 animated views, and then this gradient view. However, I will fix the warnings real quick. So let's look back at the documentation. And yeah, so this is now an object with X and Y keys. So let's fix that real quick. Okay, we should be warning free. No, we're not. Oh, here's that thing I was telling you about. It says linear gradient colors and locations should be arrays of the same length. And dude, it's not. That's not true. Let me just show you real fast. Yeah, let me just show you. So if I go to my mock data and I take this middle location out, which is essentially would be like somewhere in here. So as you're like pulling these like closer to each other, think of like the middle right there. That's what I'm using. I'm using in code this middle location to be able to say like, all right, I want to pull these towards each other and get a more interesting looking gradient. So if I remove these real fast, the warning will go away. Yes, the warning will go away, but then if you notice, there's like this ugly grayish, it's where the blue and the red are going into each other, you know, where it's, you know, the pixels are being laid out. And that looks so dead to me. That looks so gross. So what I did was this. And if I add this back, you'll see warnings come back. Gradient looks 100 times better. See, all that gray stuff is gone. And I could, just to look at it one more time, I think a couple of other of these will probably look bad too. Like, that one looks dumb. That one's not bad. That one looks terrible too. So, without it, and then with it, that looks so much better. Anyways, I'm done ranting about that. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I covered everything. So just to recap real quick, we have our trusty safe area view, keeping everything in the bounds of where we want to be. We have a lot of absolutely positioned stuff like these gradient bubbles and these animated shoes, which we're doing the shoes so that way they don't scroll. They stay in the center of the screen, essentially. We have an animated scroll view, which that was kind of the whole meat and potatoes of this whole thing. And we literally have 6 properties that give us this really powerful scroll view that we can create an instance of an animated value, and we can map it to a scroll event right here, and then take this guy and pass it to whatever component we want to. So that component, that component, that component. And then when we consume it, we just destructure it and we interpolate that value. And this is another piece of the magic where you can experiment and get some really, really cool results. And really frictionless. I'm a huge fan. I've done a lot of different type of designs that are pretty cool. I'll show you one real quick that I have in Expo, I think. Maybe. Baller, yeah. Nope. I haven't updated that one yet. Yeah, sorry, I can't show you any right now because I need to update. The Expo SDKs are super old, so they're not working with the newer Expo iOS app. But yeah, you could do super, super cool stuff. This type of stuff, like this example would be like maybe some type of like fancy like modal gallery that would come up where you're trying to like buy the shoes. It's kind of a cool experience. I think these are really good for onboarding, you know, swiping through. Those are pretty popular. And, you know, usually those are kind of like this carousel that you're scrolling through. You can do this vertically too on iOS. So this little snapping scroll view on iOS, it's as easy as, since the scroll view defaults to vertical, you just don't set this property and you'll have the paging, but going vertically up and down. Um, yeah, and besides that, it's just, creativity and some design skills. But once you kind of nail down uh, you kind of get used to animated and you have your animated value set up or values, you can interpolate those and you can do some really interesting things within the interpolation mapping of the input and output values. Um, so yeah, hopefully this was useful. I want to try to do some more of these with different type of React Native apps and possibly some native iOS apps if anyone's interested in that. I'm currently learning that right now. That's a whole lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for watching.